So today we're at Richmond Park and we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of these two lenses. So this one here is the Olympus f4 300mm Pro lens, and I'm going to put it up against the older Canon EF 300mm f4. Very similar lenses. This one's obviously for micro four thirds, this one's a full frame lens. We're going to be using them both on a micro four thirds camera, but this one's going to have the adapter. What I want to know, this one's around £2,000 to buy, this one's about £1,000. Not too sure what the price difference is, but is it worth saving some money and using an adapter on this one to use on your micro four thirds, or are you better off spending that extra money and buying this one? Let's find out. Okay, so let's have a look at both these lenses a little bit closer up. So as you can see, size wise they're both almost the same. Now I've put the adapter on the Canon. They've both got these built-in lens hoods, which I really do like. But even with them out, you can see that the Canon is a tiny bit longer. Now I've put the adapter on there. Build quality, the Olympus lens looks beautiful. Canon one, well, it's a used lens, so it's looking a little bit tatty, but they both look lovely lenses to use. And weight wise, they're almost the same weight. The Canon one is a little bit lighter than the Olympus, but not by much at all, so they're almost the same. So really there's not much in it between these sort of things. Now where there is going to be a big difference, first one, on a day like today, weather sealing. The Olympus is going to be a weather sealed unit, where the Canon isn't. Even if the Canon 300mm lens was weather sealed, which it isn't, if it was, because I'm using the adapter, then it wouldn't no longer be weather sealed. So that's one difference. The other difference is going to be sharpness. Now we'll test both of them. They're both supposed to be very sharp lenses. This is supposed to be Olympus's sharpest lens I've ever produced. Is it worth a price tag above the Canon L glass? We'll find that out as well. Autofocus can be a big difference as well. So this with the adapter, I'd imagine this can be the biggest difference between the two. Is this going to be a usable system and worth saving that money for, or is it going to be worth spending a lot more money and getting the native glass? And then obviously image stabilization. Now this is supposed to give me 6 stops of image stabilization using it on my Olympus camera. And this one, it's only got 2 stops built into the lens. Is it going to work with the inbuilt stabilization on my Olympus? I doubt it, but we'll find out as well, and which one's better. Okay, so the first thing I can notice about this Olympus is it is sharp, and the image stabilization I'm getting from this combination is really, really good. I can handhold really easily and take some really nice sharp shots. One thing I have noticed though, there is a manual focus column just here, which switches between manual focus and autofocus. It just seems to be when I'm hand holding it naturally where my hand would fit. So a few times now I've sort of accidentally just put my finger on it enough to turn it to manual focus. So a little bit annoying, but apart from that, really nice lens. So I'm going to swap over now to the Canon and just see the difference. Okay, yeah, so with the Canon, there's a big difference with the image stabilization. I'm really missing it after using the Olympus. Going to this, I can really tell the difference. Update my shutter speeds now. Got to be much quicker just to get a sharp image. Sharpness does still seem to be there, and the autofocus does seem to be working. It is slower though, so I'm going to put that to a little bit more test later. But apart from that, it's a usable system. Let's carry on using it though. So there is one advantage the Canon has over the Olympus, and that is on exactly situations like this. It's dull and rainy outside. I'm struggling with light, so I'm at f4. My ISO is 2500, which is quite high for a micro four thirds camera, and I'm already at 200 for a second shutter speed, so I don't even going to go any lower on a 600mm lens. Even though I am on a tripod, I'm sort of pushing it a little bit. So what I can do with the Canon though is I can change the adapter. Now this adapter has got a focal reducer in it, so it's still giving me autofocus. It's got a little lens element inside it, which will reduce the focal range down to, if I do my maths, is 0.71 times, so they're about 420mm lens rather than a 600mm lens. But importantly, it will gain me a stop of light. So instead of being an f4 lens, it'll be an f2.8 lens, which will then obviously get my ISO down lower. So that's a big advantage that Canon has over that Olympus. Okay, so that weather's really got bad now, but just out there beyond this tree line, there's a stag deer with 1, 2, 3, 4 female does. So this is exactly what this 300mm lens is for, is wildlife shots from quite a distance away like this. I'd like to get a bit closer, but let's see what shots we can get. So I've just seen a crow just sat on a little log down there. I've had time to swap over both lenses, the Canon and the Olympus, and try exactly the same shot with both. That's a good thing about dull days like today when the weather's wet. The animals seem to be less bothered about moving around quite so quick. So a lot of them just sat around, not doing a lot. But rather than taking photographs of crows, I think I should take a photograph of this lovely stag behind me. Okay, so because the weather's so bad, what I've done is actually taken advantage of that extra adapter which I can use with the Canon lens. So I've put the Viltrox EFM2 adapter on it. Now I can now shoot at f2.8 at 420mm. Now, shooting deer like this, I can get a bit closer. So I'm going to give it a go. Now I'm hoping it's going to drop my ISO down lower. So let's give this a go. Okay, yeah, so I've just managed to shoot at f2.8 using this adapter, which really is quite something. 2.8 at around 420mm is something quite special. Obviously I'm not too sure how that will affect the sharpness, but from using this adapter before, I don't think it'll affect it that much. And I can now shoot at ISO 400 rather than 800, so that helps an awful lot. So it's turned out to be a really wet day. It's been a really good test for both these lenses. In fact, I had to put the Canon one away because it was getting so wet. I was worried because of the weather sealing, or lack of weather sealing. So that's a real big bonus with regards to the Olympus. One thing for sure, this Olympus is a real joy to use, really sharp. But the main question is, how much better is it compared to the Canon? Because it's got to be a lot better because of the price. So I'm going to get back now, put all the images onto a computer and just compare sharpness really. That's the only thing left to do. So see you in a minute. Okay, so it's really nice to be back in the warm and dry. It was really wet out there. So I've had a chance to put them all onto Lightroom now, all these images. So let's have a look and see. So first off, I was lucky enough to get a deer stationary long enough to change lenses. So if you look at both these to here, let's get back to this view. Okay, so the one on the left here is the Olympus, and then this one is the Canon 300. So if we zoom in, and you can see the difference there. So you can see that the Olympus is by far sharper. These are both the same setting, so 640 for a second at f4. Basically I spent the whole day, because it was so dark out there, the whole day was spent at f4, or when I put the adapter on the Canon f2.8. You can see that the ISO is still at 1250. So I struggled all day. This is a really good test for these lenses, because a day like that day is where these sort of faster f4 lenses and primes will help. But I struggled all day with ISO. My ISO was high, and I'll show you some images of the adapter when I use that at 2.8 and how much I improved things. So, but you can see like the Olympus, no surprises there at all. Let's just move on. So there was at one point there was some mushrooms there, which I decided that in the marketing stuff about the Olympus, they also say about the close focusing, and you can use it for some sort of macro work. but the Canon actually is about the same close focus, and it's about 1.5 meters for both of them. So they're both similar. So I just thought it would be a good opportunity to see these two side by side. So if we look at these two shots, let's just match it up. Okay, so again you've got the Olympus, no you haven't, you've got the Canon EF 300 here on the left hand side and the Olympus on the right hand side, and you can see there's a lot more detail here in the Olympus, but it's quite close, there's not much difference really between the two. They're both good shots, but you can see there's a bit more detail there in the Olympus one. So at the moment I'd say, apart from sharpness, there's not much difference between the two lenses, a tiny little bit of sharpness. But look, as you go into things here, you can see the big difference here. I mean, if you look at this shot here, shot with the Olympus, you can see exactly how sharp that is, and I just wasn't able to get very similar shots with the Canon lens. They just seemed a little bit, if you look at this one, which is the Canon, it just wasn't quite the same ISO, both shot, and I'll tell you what, let's just compare these two side by side. And it really is chalk and cheese there. So that Canon one is it's just not sharp. I mean, you could argue this is 1/400th a second, this 1/500th a second, but you can see a massive difference there. So I suppose the ultimate question is, do I think this lens is worth the amount of money it's been sold for? £2,200 for the Olympus lens, whereas you can buy the Canon one, both 300mm, both f4. This one's for a full frame camera, and this one's about £1,000. They're both really good lenses, but I've got to say that is the best wildlife combination I've ever used. The image stabilization makes it so good. Then I believe it is worth every single penny. You won't need to use a tripod again. I've put it through today, I'll put it through some really good tests. The weather conditions were so dull and dark that image stabilization really come into its own and outperformed this lens by huge amounts. That was mainly because of that image stabilization helping it. This lens suffered with sharpness. Now that could be because I was using it on a micro four thirds camera, and one thing I would say is this adapter, the EF-M2 adapter with a focal reducer, did seem to help because I was able to get a bit closer. But I think this is a great combination. It's just a shame about the manual focusing, but apart from that, it's a really good combination. I strongly recommend it. So I hope this has helped. Please subscribe and watch my other videos.